Well, good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Manning coming to you from my home here in Columbus. I want to thank all my little viewers for tuning out there in YouTube land tonight. I got a lot of things I want to talk about tonight, so I'm just going to go and just jump right into it. The Browns beat the Falcons 26-24 last Sunday on a game-winning field goal at the end. The Browns are now 7-4 and in a playoff position. I'll get back to that in just a second. Cincinnati beat Houston 22-13 on Sunday. The Bengals are right now in first place in the NFC North. And just an FYI, Pittsburgh plays New Orleans. They had a bye week last week. They get a 1 o'clock start on Fox against New Orleans. So good luck to them. Congrats to both the Browns and the Bengals. All four teams in the NFC North, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore, all four teams are above 500. And for the first time in the history of the National Football League, that is the first time that has ever happened. Now, all four of them are in the middle of the playoff hunt. I'll get back to that in just a second because I want to address that a little bit more. Now, Ohio State beat Indiana 42-27 last Saturday. My reaction to the game was we did not play a good first half. We lost a position in the we dropped the spot in the AP poll and all the college football polls. But as it stands right now, we're number 6 in the computer rankings. Maybe we can have a chance to get in. I hope we can get into the top 4 and get into a playoff spot. But first, we got to win out, and we need help. We got to beat Michigan, and we got to win the Big Ten championship game. And I hope either Ole Miss upsets Mississippi State or Auburn upsets Alabama. I'll get back to that in just a second because I'm going to address that a little bit more. Now, folks, this coming Thursday is Thanksgiving Day. But I'm going to tell you this. We have 3 big NFL games on Thursday. All 3 of them have believe it or not, have playoff implications written all over. So I'm going to go down the list. Chicago plays Detroit at 12:30 on CBS. Both teams are on the outside looking in. The Bears are 1 game below 500, but they're still in a hunt for a playoff spot. Believe it or not, they're in the middle of a playoff hunt. Both teams could try to get in the playoffs. I'll address that in just a second. Philadelphia plays Dallas at 4:30 on Fox. That's going to be the one that everybody's going to want to watch because both teams right now are both in the playoffs if the playoffs were to start today. So there's a lot at stake. Both teams are 8-3 in the NFC East. We'll have to wait and see what happens. That is a really, really big one. That's going to be the most important game of the day, if you ask me. In my opinion, I think Dallas can win it. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But we'll have to wait and see what happens on that. Seattle plays San Francisco at 8:30 on Thursday night for an NBC Thursday Night Football special on Thanksgiving night. Seattle, as of right now, if the playoffs were to begin, they would be the number 6 seed at 7. The number 6 seed, and Seattle will be and San Francisco would be on the outside looking in. So that's how it stands right now. I will go into the playoff picture more in depth in just a second, but I'm just going to give you a heads up on what's going to happen with that. And by the way, the Cleveland Browns will play the Buffalo Bills. The game will be in Buffalo at Rich Stadium. They're going to have the stadium ready. Come heck or high water, the stadium will be ready. We'll have to wait and see what happens after 7 feet of snow. I'm going to say this. The Bills have found a home away from home. Up in Detroit. I mean, I could not believe it. They go to Detroit, they win big, they beat the Jets 38-3. And there's a lot to talk about, and I just cannot believe it. And also, too, Cincinnati plays Tampa Bay at 1 o'clock. Both games are on CBS, so check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Now, everybody else is wondering. We got Michigan, Ohio State coming up. Urban Meyer has actually come up with a couple of things. If you say the M word in his presence, he'll be saying to you, drop and give me 10. You'll be doing 10 push-ups for saying the M word. And the letter M is such a bad letter, they took out the M. They took the M out of every single thing in the world. They put a piece of red tape over the letter M at the Woody Hayes Sports Complex here at Ohio State. Hey, Woody Hayes called it they used to call him the school up north. So that's the way it feels right now. Now, what Ohio State needs to do, if they want to get into the playoff picture for a shot at the national championship, there's a lot of things that need to happen. First, we got to win out. We have got to beat Michigan. But Michigan has something to play for too. They need a win just to be bowl eligible. So that's something they really need to think about. So bottom line is, Ohio State, we have a Big Ten championship and a shot at a national title to play for. What does Michigan have to play for? They have a chance to be bowl eligible with a win over Ohio State. And could you imagine how big that would be? But folks, I'm going to tell you now, we may be heavy favorites, but don't let your guard down. Michigan has spoiled it for us before. They've done it before, and I hope and pray they don't do it this time around. So that's what we're looking at here. Also, too, three really big games that I've got wrote down. And I'm going to tell you why they're very big, and you can say what you want about one of them. One of them you will be surprised. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. That's a 3:30 start on CBS. I'll be watching that a little bit closer. Mississippi. Now here's what can happen. If Ole Miss upsets Mississippi State, Alabama will play in the SEC championship game. If Mississippi State wins, they're going to need help. They need Auburn to upset Alabama. That game is a 7:45 start, so the SEC West, baby, it's going to get wild and willy all the way to the end. So Ole Miss plays Mississippi State at 3:30. Auburn plays Alabama at 7:45. But also, too, there's another big one coming up, and you'll be shocked by this. And this is the reason why I'm bringing this up is the winner of this one gets Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. So here's what's going to happen. Minnesota plays Wisconsin. That's a 3:30 start on the Big Ten Network. There's a lot more this time, folks, than just Paul Bunyan's axe up for grabs. The winner of this one not only gets Paul Bunyan's axe, but wins the Big Ten West and will get to face Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis. So, it's not over yet. Ohio State's got to win out. Then they're going to be awaiting the winner of the Minnesota-Wisconsin game, and whoever wins that one will play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. So there's a lot going on this weekend. I know there's a lot of Thanksgiving Day in the NFL. There's a lot of college ball on Saturday. So I'm going to be a pretty busy guy over the weekend. Now, this is what everybody wants me to talk about, is the NFL playoff picture. As it stands right now, in the NFC, if the playoffs were to start today, Arizona and Green Bay would be the top two seeds. The number 3 seed, Philadelphia. Atlanta, at a 4-7 record. Folks, I would not be laughing so hard if I were you. There is a possibility that a 5-11 team in the NFC South could get into the playoffs. There is a possibility, so I would not be laughing too hard if I were you. It's just something to think about, something to keep in the back of your mind. So that could be a possibility. I don't know for sure if it will happen, but that's something you might want to keep in mind. Dallas would be the 5 seed at 8-3. Seattle will get the number 6 seed at 7-4. And in the hunt, I have Detroit, San Francisco, and Chicago. So that's why I said all 3 Thanksgiving Day games have playoff implications. Both Chicago and Detroit are on the outside looking in. If Chicago scores a big win on Thursday against Detroit, they can really pick themselves right back into this battle to get into the playoffs, as it stands right now. Now, Philadelphia and Dallas are both at 8-3. They play each other on Thursday. As it stands now, it would be Philadelphia the 3 seed and Dallas the 5 seed. That's what makes the Dallas-Philadelphia game the most important. As it stands right now, both teams are in the playoffs if they were to start today. So that's something you guys really need to be thinking about. And also, too, Seattle and San Francisco, that's an 8:30 start on NBC on Thursday. Seattle would get the number 6 seed at 7-4. San Francisco would be 7-4 on the outside looking in. So that's a big one. All 3 Thanksgiving Day games have playoff implications riding on the line. So that's something everybody really, really needs to think about right now. On to the AFC. If the playoffs were to start today, it would be New England and Denver. They would be the top 2 seeds in the AFC. Cincinnati 3 with a 7-3-1 record. They're in first place in the NFC North. Indianapolis at 7-4. They'd be the 4 seed. Kansas City would have the 5 seed. They're 7-4 right now. And San Diego would get the 6 seed at 7. They're 7-4 as well. And in the hunt, I have Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and believe it or not, don't count them out yet, I have Miami and Buffalo. So believe it or not, all 4 teams in the NFC North are in the hunt for the playoffs. I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's something you guys really need to think about as we go down the stretch towards the end of the season. And folks, as the way it stands right now, I'll be keeping you up to date. I will be back here next Wednesday for another show. But before I go, folks, because this coming week is Thanksgiving is on Thursday. But you know what? I have a lot to be thankful for. I am thankful for all the friends I have, the family that I have that love me dearly, and I'm also very thankful for all of you, my fans, and all my viewers and all my fans who watch my shows every week. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and making this possible, and it's been a great ride. I'll be back next Wednesday with another show. So until then, And I just want to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving. And I'm very thankful for all of you, my fans. And this show tonight is sponsored in part by you, the fans, who make my life worthwhile. And I'm very thankful for all of you on this week of Thanksgiving, for all of you. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. So until next week, this is Scott Manning saying good night, good luck, and thank you. I thank you, and have a good night, and have a happy Thanksgiving.